Welcome back. This is Mukul Yudhvir Singh for Autocar Professional. We are here at Automechanika 2026, and sitting with me is a special man, Harsha Kadam, MD and CEO, Schaeffler India. Harsha sir, welcome to
Thank
Autocar
you.
Professional. Wanted to understand what is Schaeffler showcasing here at Automechanika.
Schaeffler being a motion technology company, and we have the widest portfolio when it comes to motion technology. And that said, the automotive space is obviously giving us a good opportunity to bring in front the widest portfolio, starting with a rudimentary mechanical product like bearings, going right up to uh, modules. Talk about electronics, we are into sensors, and then we are even showcasing the e-axle systems drives that are going into the car. So as you can see, it's not just about components, it's about system level solutions. Talk about the portfolio from mechanical right up to electronics as well. So we're encompassing end to end, showcasing today.
Interesting. India's vehicle park, especially in the CV and the two-wheeler industry, is aging. How does Schaeffler see this as a long tail opportunity?
I guess that's a huge opportunity for us because as the vehicle life ages, there is going to be definitely more wear and tear on the parts, and the demand for the parts obviously is going to go up. That is one. Secondly, as you can also see, the regulatory requirements are changing in the country with emission norms getting tighter. And we as Schaeffler, we do have products in that portfolio to cater to those changing regulatory requirements as well. So if one needs to upgrade, there could probably be potential opportunities as well there. Third, the transformation from ICE engine to electric is also happening, wherein opens up further opportunities for us to bring the next emerging technologies that are coming into space, even in the aftermarket space.
Interesting. The aftermarket space, especially in India, is a very price sensitive market. More price sensitive than the newer vehicles, than the upgrades themselves. How do you make sure that localization along with innovation fits your aftermarket space?
So to answer to that question, we have to address this at multiple levels. You already said it that localization definitely is one. It's good to manufacture the product in India, and we have a clear strategy since the last 5 years. We've been consistently investing in expanding our manufacturing capacities. And we continue to do that going forward as well. As the demand goes up both in the OEM as well as in the aftermarket, we continue to feed the market with the new investments that we bring in. So that's number one. Number two is also on the transformation that's happening in the regulatory environment. If you see 2020, India graduated from Bharat Stage 4 to Bharat Stage 6. They jumped. So obviously the emission norms got tightened, which means the expectations from each component in the product which are contributing to the emission obviously have to also be re-engineered and come out with to address those emission or meet those emission norms. We complied with that as well. Now there is talk of Bharat Stage 7 and the new CAFE norms. Even in the tractor segment, we are hearing about the trend. So as Schaeffler, we already have the engineering and the design capabilities, and we have started to build that in India. We have two large R&D centers, engineering and R&D centers, one in Bangalore and one in Pune, with a manpower strength of close to 1,600 people working only on engineering and design. So that in itself says that we are preparing for the future, whatever changes begin to happen. So these two fundamentally are the large things, but apart from that, of course, we need to continue to launch new products, and this is where our innovation capabilities that we have to come out with solutions that are needed for the local market with global technology. We are very good at bringing that, and that's something we are focusing on.
Interesting. When you put in a lot of hard work, especially with a brand name as Schaeffler, right? And then there are the availability of counterfeit products in the market. How big of a challenge is that, especially in India? And are there any specific steps that you are taking to tackle that situation?
Yes, it is a perennial problem in India. The fake, and you do have this parallel economy that runs, correct? Uh, more so when it comes to reputed brands, and one of them is ours. We do definitely get. So, what are we doing to address this? There are a couple of things we do. Uh, One is a very, what should I say, a reactive approach. The second is a preventive approach. Let me start with the reactive. So, the reactive approach is if and whenever we come across a fake product with our brand name, we have a process. We engage with the authorities, the police, the investigating agencies to make sure that we appropriately, under the laws of the land, we try and address that. And we have been doing it. Just to throw a data point, 6 to 10 raids every year we carry out in different locations, as and when the intelligence network within the organization we get to hear. That's the reactive approach, because that's after the product is already there in the market. Our customers play a valuable role here. They too reach out to us to ask, look, I bought a product, is this genuine? And when we investigate, we do find, yes, there's certain amount of fake still in the market. I would say the investing into the preventive is definitely a much better solution, but that would call for bringing in new technologies. Couple of them we have already introduced is we have introduced a verification QR code on the product, that when the end user scans it with his mobile phone, it tells you, gives all the details of the product. Correct? So if somebody tries to fake that, we had an incident last month, large bearing, high value bearing. There was a QR code. The customer tried to measure it and there was no data coming out. And so we had to send our team to check out. So this is one already which is in practice. However, we want to now move further down to say, how do we get into a more preventive mode so that people cannot copy this solution? And that's something we are can we use digitalization, can we use technology, or there is a fingerprint method that we can use. So there is various options available. Surely we will find some new solution as well to make sure that we rather address this in a preventive manner rather than in a reactive manner.
Interesting. Speaking of the term preventive, the newest trend in the aftermarket industry is data and diagnostics.
Yes.
Are you picking up pace on that? Are you going to work on that part
Is it to address the fake bearings or as a product?
as a product?
Okay. So we believe that as technology is evolving in the automotive application, it becomes necessary that we have to look at the diagnostics part of it, data acquisition part of it, and then subsequently the diagnostics part of it, because only that will lead us to keep improving our products or solutions as well as engineer new solutions. So if we have to address that, then a lot of investments have to go into this area of diagnostics and data acquisition as such. We have been discussing this. Will it happen? Wait and watch.
Interesting. That gives me a cue. But then again, coming to my next question around electric mobility, sir. We are now scaling in two-wheelers and three-wheelers, very good numbers. Have you already aligned the aftermarket approach for the electric two-wheeler and the three-wheeler market?
So I'll have to address this in two ways. We have been in the two-wheeler space, but the portfolio of product has only been bearings. That's number one. And two, also, even in the bearings portfolio, we were underrepresented in the market. So here now, what we are looking at now is how do we now scale this up faster? And while doing so, it's not just about bearings anymore now. So we are now going to get into a portfolio of products which goes into the engine applications as well, which goes into like the injectors, the throttle body valves, the controllers, the ECUs, the knock sensors. This was possible for us because in the last 2 years, the merger of Vitesco, which brings in the electronics portfolio of our offering, is only complementing and strengthening our play in the two-wheeler space. With that, we are now confident that we are going to see a lot more traction in the two-wheeler market space going forward as well. And we are confident that with a huge portfolio of offering for the two-wheelers, we are only set to grow the market.
Data and diagnostics, ECUs in the aftermarket, is this all connected?
I guess so, because the world is getting connected more and more. and there's a lot of integration that happens. So even within a vehicle, there is one part which is talking to the other part, which means there's already electronics and digital and software coming into play. So the way we service a vehicle or a motorcycle is changing now. So unless you learn the language, unless you know how to speak that language, you can never play the game. So it's bound to happen.
One more language that the OEMs have been speaking a lot is now they're asking for systems instead of components, and aftermarket is picking pace on that.
Yes.
Aftermarket is kind of adopting that as well. Do you think that 5 years today down the line, from today down the line, aftermarket would also be more about systems than components?
It will be. Why do I say that? If you were to look at, take for example, the electric cars coming out today, uh, while there's still some time for the servicing part of the vehicles, electric cars, to come into the aftermarket space, but surely it's going to happen one day or the other. I see engines used to be serviced by OEMs, which has gradually now moved out. There are enough and enough mechanics and garages who do the servicing. The same is going to happen here. So when that happens, obviously, once you start playing a system level game, you need to be ready with a system level offering in the aftermarket as well. It goes without saying.
That's a huge investment, is that?
Yes, it is. But then we are in any way investing for the OEMs. So
Interesting. Interesting. One of the major problems with the aftermarket for reputed brands is the availability of mechanics who can actually handle complicated parts, complicated subsystems, and complicated components. How are you addressing that gap, especially in local, garages, uh, which are a lot in India?
okay. So there are, I guess, we have approached it in a couple of ways. For one, we focus a lot on upskilling and training with our rep expert vans. We invest a lot of time in coaching and upskilling the mechanics, and we do it at the point where they work so that it doesn't impact their working hours. And that's an investment we make, and I think that's paying off well, because what it also does is build brand loyalty. And because we invest individual time, and this is not a classroom training, it's a touch and feel, where the mechanic can assemble and disassemble the clutches and variety of products. So that's one we do. The second, I guess, is also how do we enable the reach. What are we doing is, if you look at the market is also kind of now transforming, where you're also having uh, some kind of an organized structure coming in. Okay, what do I mean by that? A cab aggregator like a Uber, Ola, now they would want to service their cars. They don't send it to all and sundry. So they work with specific garages in each cities now. So you have now targets that we need to look at to say, hey, I need to work with this mechanic because he services the cars of Ola and Uber. So the aggregator has a different way of working. They look for speed, they look for on time, they look for precise product. So to that effect, we also now launched an e-commerce platform. The clear intent there is, how fast within 1 hour can I deliver the part to these aggregators. It works, it's a digital platform on the phone, and the mechanic has to, the garage has to just
Please the order.
place the order, and then within the next 1 hour it gets delivered at his doorsteps. So you see, now this is also changing. The expectations of the customers is also changing. So for us, it's only understanding what's changing and what does my customer want, and ultimately now positioning myself accordingly. So one e-commerce platform is one. On the individual mechanics, upskilling is needed because new kind of products come in. There's going to be some changes in the skill level that may be required. So we are addressing that through that as well. So we have a very concerted effort going around to make sure that we are relevant in the game.
Interesting. E-commerce platform, upskilling, these hint that you are absolutely sure about the growth in India in the next 3 to 5 years.
Sure, why not?
What are the, this is my last question to you. What are the growth levers that you're expecting in the aftermarket?
So one of the biggest growth lever obviously is the country itself. How well is it doing? And when you look at it, the fastest growing economy, set to be the third largest economy very soon. Clear indications that growth is a given. Uh, Obviously, the government with its policies is also enabling events like this, obviously enable the Automechanika. Definitely, it's also clear indication that there's a lot happening. More needs to be done, of course. So that's one lever. Two, the signing of the FTA is a clear indicator that there's going to be positive traction, at least in many of the sectors. It's going to happen. So we are looking forward to that as the details of the FTA start to come in. Obviously, for example, somebody was asking, which sector do you see, a positive traction? One of the sectors we already are looking at is textile machinery. That's going to set to grow in India big time, and we have products in that portfolio as well. And we are now starting to study the market to say, okay, how big is this going to be with all the trade agreements that are getting signed? Third, you take the government's very, very business friendly policies like the GST 2.0 reforms. What did that do? It created a strong production demand. And surely that's going to help as well. And not only in the OEM side, the GST 2.0 also helped that the B2C consumers, right, also now can afford a very good brand, a strong brand like Schaeffler, because the price has come down. So why would I pay more money for now a substandard brand? I would rather pay the same money and get a Schaeffler brand. So it's only benefiting all of us.
Interesting. This is Mukul Yudhvir Singh for Autocar Professional. Harsha sir, thank you for speaking
Thank you,
to us.
Mukul. Thank
Signing
you.
off.